Hey guys, it's Nova, and for this video I'm doing another kind of designing video, but it's also going to be a little bit different because it didn't quite go as I initially planned for it to, and that's entirely my fault and a result of me biting off more than I could chew. Getting into this, I really enjoyed doing this piece. This video was originally supposed to have more than one character in it, hence my comment earlier about, biting off more than I could chew. This was originally supposed to be multiple pieces, and then I realized that doing a full piece for each of my characters for one video was a little bit ambitious, a little bit more than I should do. What I should have done is concept drawings of each of my trace characters as Pokemon trainers. That'll actually probably be the next video. I'm not even gonna lie, that'll probably be the next video. I really did want to do this though, and I ended up with the first one, which is Willow, who I wanted to do first because she is the leader of the group. And the idea that I had to draw everybody as Pokemon trainers originally came from the fact that I wanted to do, and will probably do in future, a video focusing about how people argue all the time whether original art is better than fan art. I've seen people argue whether or not fan art even has any value, and that people should only be doing original art. You shouldn't do fan art because it's not original, because it's not unique, because it's just following trends and everything like that. And I do want to do a full scripted, well-scripted and well-researched video on that particular topic, because it's a subject that I have seen for a very long time. That is something that has been consistent and pretty prevalent in the art community for a very long time. Like, I've literally been seeing it since I was in middle or high school and joined DeviantArt for the first time. And I've literally seen it since then, and it's kind of frustrating in a lot of ways, because, to get on a small tangent about it, when it comes to original art versus fan art is what brought a lot of people to art in the first place. So, for one thing, I think it has its place in that respect, but also because people come up with some cool stuff with fan concepts, and it can be very useful and helpful to a lot of people, especially on their creative journeys. And there's a lot of value in fan art, there really is. I love it personally. Original art's important. Yeah, I mean, of course it is. Obviously, I create characters, I do a ton of my own original stuff, I make a lot of fan characters. But making those fan characters led to me doing more of my original stuff because I wanted to do more of things that were my ideas. So there's value in both, and I really don't think people should go, oh, this one's better than that one, etc., etc. But to get away from that tangent and back to the actual art, that was the idea that honestly spawned this art piece and the other art pieces. I have the others actually thumbnailed out, well, 3 out of the remaining 7, because I was thinking 4 because I had 4 thumbnailed. I drew 1, that leaves 7 out of 8 to do. I've got 3 more thumbnailed, and I need to do 4 more thumbnails. But this idea was spawned, and I originally, like I said, I did want to do everybody's pictures in this one. That did not happen. That was way too ambitious for one video. So I will be doing, probably next, a concept drawing video of everybody as Pokemon trainers, and then follow that with the next few videos, possibly, of at least using it as B-roll footage of the actual print designs, which I am going to end up making these as prints, and I'm working on getting my online shop up and running. It's going to be a bit longer, but these will be available as at least 5x7 prints, because that's the size I made them. I should be able to resize them for different size prints, and I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. But I do want to offer these as prints, and once I get my online shop up and running, I will let you guys know so that you can look through and see. But I do want to do the other 7, which means you guys will get to see the entire, finally, main cast of Trace, and get to see how everyone looks, at least of the good guys. I'm still working on the other characters' designs, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think that'll be something really nice. But let's talk about the actual picture in this video. So like I said, I wanted to do Willow first because she is the leader of the group. and I really, really like how this turned out. Style-wise, it's a little bit different from my usual style. It's a little bit more, I intentionally leaned a little bit more into the Pokemon style of drawing without actually crossing over into drawing in that style fully. I kind of landed in the middle, and I do like how that turned out. The coloring was definitely different from how I usually do, largely because I was a little bit inspired by a lot of Pokemon illustrations, like the art themselves for the Pokemon, how it has almost a watercolory kind of look. So when it came to the shading, I did use more watercolor brushes for the shading, and I did have to fight with it a little bit, just to talk about the coloring and shading in general. I also did that a little bit different from normal. But I like how it turned out, but it did take some work and some fighting with it, because I'm not used to using those brushes. And that led to a little bit of difficulty and struggle with learning to do it. But I do like the end result, and I am going to play around more with those brushes and this coloring style, at least for, illustrations and prints going forward. But getting to her design, I really wanted to do more of a ballet style because she is a ballerina. And what inspired this was drawings of May from Pokemon in like this, I want to say it's Pokemon Coordinator? Is that what it's called? I think whenever I stopped watching the anime by that point, and I didn't know as much about it, but I think it's Pokemon Coordinator, where they do like the really pretty shows and all of that with their Pokemon. And that's kind of what I imagine Willow would do in a Pokemon universe. In the illustration, there are 6 Pokeballs, but I only featured 2 Pokemon. This is largely because essentially anything that I get into, be it my own original things or fan stuff, I will inevitably mess around with a Pokemon partner AU, where essentially everything is like it is in the canon, but there are also Pokemon that exist and a person has 1 or 2 partner Pokemon. I liked doing this. For one thing, this was inspired generally by watching Detective Pikachu. I love that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, please watch it. It is so much fun, and it was done so well, and I love it. And I really enjoyed it, and I liked the idea of giving characters a partner Pokemon. But I ran into the issue of struggling to give people just 1 partner Pokemon, because I'd be like, oh, this character is perfect for this one. Like, this Pokemon is perfect for this character. But so is that Pokemon. Oh no, which one? And then brain just kind of goes both is good. And so that ended in a pretty consistent thing of 2 partner Pokemon. It usually ends up being that one's more pretty and one's more strong and powerful looking. That kind of dichotomy, I really enjoy that, especially if the character in question is really cute. So the ones I ended up with Willow, after coming up with her pretty ballerina outfit for shows and the like, I went with the first one that really jumped out at me, especially because she's wind element, so I did try and look at flying Pokemon. The only one really of flying Pokemon that jumped out at me was Swanna. I like the other flying Pokemon. Don't take this to mean that I dislike flying types and their designs, because that's not the case. There are plenty of really pretty, like, bug Pokemon that are very pretty and that I really like. Like, I love Frostmoth, honestly. It's so pretty. But Swanna really struck me as fitting her best when it comes down to it. And yes, it's for a very particular reason. And it's because ballet, ballerina, Swan Lake. That is entirely what led me to that, especially whenever I looked at the Pokedex entries. And one of the things it said was that Swanna began to dance at dusk, and the one in the middle dancing is usually the leader of the flock. And I was just like, it's a swan that dances and looks really pretty and has a ballerina looking style to it. I can't not. It was too perfect. It was completely too perfect not to do. She has a female Swanna. And one thing I liked about this was that I got to practice drawing animals a bit more. That is something that I need a lot of practice with, and this sort of forced me out of my comfort zone to get the hang of it. When I was doing this sketch, this was another one where I didn't quite sketch the thumbnail process, because I went straight from thumbnail sketch to inking. So I didn't end up really recording the sketching process. And I really do like, though, how Swanna especially turned out, but it took me a few tries to get her right. Because it was just very different from what I usually do. Animal designs are so different, even stylized Pokemon designs. They're very different from what I usually do with my characters. So I had a lot of fun with drawing it, and her Swanna is female, and I did deviate from the actual colors of the Pokemon. And there's a reason for that. For one thing, from a design perspective, it's a lot more fun to, whenever you draw, to add these extra little differences. Because in real life, obviously, animals, they look different from individual to individual. Even if they're the exact same, kind of animal, they're going to look different in some ways from each other. And I figure with Pokemon, especially depending on the parent Pokemon, it could look very different. It has a lot of different variations, very interesting variations compared to the base type. And that's just fun to play around with from a design perspective. Now, from an anime and game perspective, I totally get why they all look the same. That makes perfect sense to me. Of course, for animation, you're going to draw, if you've got to draw a bunch of these, you're going to make them all look the same. And of course, in the game, for modeling, for creating the character models, of course you're going to make them look the same, especially in a Pokemon game. And especially in the newer ones where you can see the Pokemon pop up and wander around. Oops. I hit my microphone. Whoops, sorry. But, of course, you're going with so many Pokemon and so many models to create or import even, depending on if they're able to use models from previous games. Of course, you're going to make them all look the same and just have a stock model that you use. That makes complete and total sense to me from a design and industry standpoint. That makes so much sense. But I really like for drawing to create those variations, like if I'm drawing a Bulbasaur or an Ivysaur, which are two of my absolute favorites. I think that as much as I really, really enjoy the new little Grass Kitty starter Pokemon, I absolutely love that adorable little precious thing. I do. My favorite starter will always be Bulbasaur. I don't know why, I love Bulbasaur. It is my favorite, it is cute, and I love it. But I like being able to experiment with different kinds of flowers and different kinds of bulbs on its back whenever I draw a Bulbasaur. That's just more fun for me. And from a design standpoint, the little markings on it, it's so much fun to see what all I can do with it. So I wanted to bring that into this with the Swanna design. So I went for pink accents for like the breast feathers that are there. And I think I went with a blue eye. And the biggest difference really was the fact that I went with pink accents, pink gradient accents really on the tips of the wings. I liked that. I thought it was pretty. And I really love that idea for the Pokemon. I should draw what it looked like as a ducklet too. I really should. And between being able to do that with it and the way the Pokedex entry went, and it just looks like a little ballerina, it was perfect for Willow. Her second Pokemon stumped me though, because none of the other flying types really appealed to me. But then I started thinking about, well, what if I just went with one that's known for being, like, really pretty and really beautiful? And then I'm not sure if this is called Milotic or Milotic. Whichever one it's pronounced, I'm going to call it Milotic. But I came across it because I like it. I think it's very pretty. And then I came across the Pokedex entries where it's supposed to be known for being extremely beautiful. It's known for its extreme beauty, and it's seen in works of art. And again, it is just very pretty. And another reason I liked it was because of new Pokemon Snap. I really liked that game, and the fact that it's one of the Illumina Pokemon. And it was so pretty, and it resides in a lake. And again, my brain went ballerina, lake, Swan Lake. So following that, because my brain works in associations, I couldn't not, especially with it being known to be so very pretty, and the way it looks, combined with, and both of the Pokemon are female, because I just see Willow as probably having female Pokemon. I don't know why, I just do. And with that, it was perfect. Those were like her two best partner Pokemon that I felt like suited her, especially being a coordinator who does the pretty shows, and I thought that was really perfect. And I had a lot easier of a time drawing Milotic compared to Swanna, because Milotic is essentially a snake. Milotic is a snake. And because Milotic is a snake, you know, got the long body, that's about it. I did have a lot of fun with that, and it was a lot easier for me to draw than a burb. So it was a lot easier for me to draw than Swanna, but I also ended up in the sketch phase when I was doing the thumbnailing, because my thumbnail got a lot more detailed than it usually would have, hence me being able to go from thumbnail to line work. But I really wanted to figure out the posing and how I was going to go about things with the two Pokemon, because I kept going back and forth because I made them look nice, and then I realized that since Milotic was easier to draw, Swanna wasn't looking as good by comparison, so I kept having to go back and forth until they both looked equally good, at least to me. There's still a lot of mess ups and issues that I'm going to work on as I learn to draw animals better. But this was honestly a really fun exercise, and I do intend to get these up as prints, largely because, for one thing, as I do the other characters, I want copies of them because I like them. But I also really want to be able to have them in my online store, because I really like the idea of the little crossover thing and drawing my characters as Pokemon trainers. I might, as I do the others, I want to try and lean a little bit more into Pokemon style for the actual characters. It'll still probably lean very much my own style, but I want to try that some more, and I want to play around with the more watercolor style coloring, because that just, it fits for Pokemon. I like it, and it's pretty. And I really like this image, and I hope you guys enjoy it too, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my rambling about Pokemon and why I thought that these specific ones fit with Willow especially. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoy, you know, your summer. And if you have any thoughts yourself about original art versus fan art, please let me know down below, because again, I am going to do an actual topic video on that before too long, because it's one that I've really wanted to do for a while now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and a thank you to my patrons, Inside Chaos, Salmon, and Creativa Artly. I appreciate all of you guys so much, along with everybody who's watching this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!